Hey, 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 it's your girl, Gia, and welcome back to Holding the Line, a Logistics at a Crossroads podcast. And this is part 2 of our BNPL, which is Buy Now, Pay Later. And I'm sitting here with a cup of coffee, I know I'm going to say this, but it's my Stanley full of water, and a Pepsi. I'm not, sponsored or anything like that. I'm just letting you know what I'm drinking. It is 9:39 p.m. on the East Coast, and let's get into it. Today we're going to talk about what comes after that blinking checkout button, because as I said previously, convenience always has a cost. And the question is, who's paying it? How long can they keep up? So let's dive in. And we're going to start with laws, or the lack thereof. Because Buy Now, Pay Later exploded so fast that our current regulation didn't just fall behind. Never left the driveway. And these companies aren't held to the same standards as credit cards because they're not a credit card and they're not layaway. There are no interest caps. There's no standardized, I cannot talk tonight, i.e. coffee, soda, water. No standardized disclosures, no mandatory checks to see if the consumer can actually afford to borrow. It's the Wild Wild West, but in an app. And here's the twist. Because Buy Now, Pay Later is not quite a loan, not quite a credit card, and not quite anything existing rules were built for, they kind of sit in a legal gray area. Which means no uniform reporting. One Buy Now, Pay Later may report only late payments. Another will report 25 to 31 days depending on when your statement comes out or your email comes across or your app says, hey, this is what's due. And then others never report. And there's no truth in lending protections. Consumers don't get a consistent breakdown of the total cost. They get a breakdown of what they're paying now, what their monthly payment is, and then the total payment. And then somewhere buried in the fine print, as always, is interest rates and late payment fees. And if you miss an automatic payment, there's nothing really on what happens from what I've been able to find. And there's no federal oversight. Agencies are aware that Buy Now, Pay Later apps are going crazy, but that doesn't mean there's a regulation for it. And some of them, like I stated earlier, there's no real uniform credit pool. A pay in 4 or pay in 6 or pay in 8 could hit your credit as a soft pull. Not a big deal, just means somebody took a look-see. Or a hard pull, which brings your score down for a while. And then there are some that just don't care. They just want money. And these companies are smart. They've built their entire business model in the cracks between outdated financial laws. And cracks big enough to swallow a generation's stability. Now, I will say, Buy Now, Pay Later is most popular with younger consumers, lower income households, or people with limited credit access. Because if you're a 20-something juggling rent, loans, car insurance, and a job that pays an experience, or you're interning somewhere, the Buy Now, Pay Later feels like a breathing room. Whereas a credit card, you know at the end of the month that statement's due. And you're making minimum payments on that already. So if you're in one of those jobs that have an income wobble where you work a lot one week and you don't work the next, or your credit score is kind of bruised and you're trying to build back up, Buy Now, Pay Later looks like the only door that has not been slammed shut, locked, and bolted. It's marketed through influencers, lifestyle ads, a thing called tiki-taki creators, Facebook ads, Instagram, all of it. It's pastel colors, soft lighting, curated hauls, creators saying, girl, get that thing, split those payments. It's not banks and calculators. It's fashion edits and a viral audio. It sells a vibe, not financial instruments. They're not pitching debt. Influencers are pitching aesthetic, convenience, a mood. They're pitching that treat yourself energy. Something cute enough to forget it's still a loan. And those 4 payments aren't really the 4 payments that this item costs $300. That item is now $475 to $500. Split up into 4 to 6 payments or 8 payments, depending. There are so many options. And that's where they bloom. It's in the crack. It thrives where people feel financially stuck. You know, in those places where paychecks fall short, the groceries have doubled in price, where the rent hikes don't pause for humanity, it flourishes in fatigue, and it grows where people feel cornered. And when the pain hits, late fees, stacked payments, overdrafts, the people that have been hit hardest were already stretched to their limit. And here's what we don't talk about enough. Debt creates silence. Silence creates shame. And shame keeps people from asking for help. The buy now, pay later hides so easily that people don't even know how deep they're in until they're drowning. And people hide these purchases from their partners because it feels small enough not to count. Couples argue over finances. Best friends fight over money. Families. But they don't even know that there are 6 active buy now, pay later loans running silently in the background. Families are juggling bills with mental math that could break anybody. Did I pay Klarna? Is Afterpay here? Did I skip Sezzle? What cleared? What bounced? Auto pay means people don't feel the money leaving until it's too late. Online banking has made transactions visible. But buy now, pay later made the debt invisible again. Miss a payment? That shame hits harder because it was only 4 payments. And now you've got to make a 5th or a 6th. How did I mess this up? And the saddest part, most people aren't irresponsible. They're just trying to live. Most people are trying to keep the fridge full, trying to keep gas in the tank, trying to keep the lights on when the electric bill keeps acting brand new. Y'all know the electric bill thinks they special. Debt instability becomes demand instability. Because this demand instability becomes supply chain instability. It's all one long domino line. Think about it. Higher default rates, pressure on shipping, warehousing, and truckload demand. That could trigger recession. I don't want to say that word. And it could hit small businesses relying on consumer stability. And a few things truly have to shift. And soon. Wages must catch up to a true cost of living. Look, When a fast food counter, I'm not saying nothing. I love my fast food people. Hello, Mickey D's. Hello, BK. Wendy's. I see you at 6:30 in the morning. When a fast food counter, though, is paying more than a corporate entry-level role, the math ain't mathin'. And the morality is broken. People can't build a life on vibes and loyalty points. And buy now, pay later needs real regulation. They need an oversight. They need someone watching them. And every pay in 4 ping can slide into a hard or soft hit on your credit without warning. People need to be aware. There needs to be a standard. We've needed this for years. Some creditors, even credit cards, are now reporting at 15 days, some at 35, some at 60, and some accounts aren't even doing it now until 90. And those are with credit cards not doing it regularly. And then we have BNPLs that just pop, pop, pop. We shouldn't have to play calendar detective to understand our own credit history or credit story. And I hate to tell you, but we need to bring back home economics in school. Consumer education doesn't have to begin at checkout. It should begin before they ever get out of high school. I know hardly anybody writes checks anymore, but they should know how to do it. They should know how to balance their bank account. They should be able to look at their online statement and see what's coming in and going out. These $75 groceries that you just put on that buy now, pay later, after your 4 payments, they'll cost you $134.85. Not tiny text, not hidden terms, just honesty before the click. I want to see that somewhere at the checkout. You agree to pay $134.85 for $75 worth of groceries. Right now. You hit yes, accept, go on. You know what you walked into. It's not happening. People are forgetting what they're paying. If buy now, pay later is covering dinner, something foundational is off. Look, there are so many food pantries weekly. There are blessing boxes. There are churches. There are your friends you can step up and say, I'm struggling. We need to be honest and have the conversation. There isn't shame in asking for help. Survival should not require shame. Corporate responsibility and pricing essentials. Look, consumer pricing right now is unhinged. It's off the chain. It's out there. I can't even tell you. And price matching is disappearing right before our eyes. I'm a coupon girl. I love me some coupons. Rain checks are now becoming extinct. First come, first served has become the default strategy, even when it fails families. Logistics planning that accounts for a volatile consumer behavior is when shoppers pivot from cash to credit to BNPLs just to feed their households. Demand becomes a moving target. Forecasting these type of shifts and inventory swings, the rails feel it, DCs feel it, the ripple is real. We are truly living in a survival economy. And survival changes how people behave. It changes how people spend, how they borrow, how they plan, how they panic. When you are in survivor mode, your brain is rewired. You stop thinking long term when your rent just went up $300 overnight. You don't think about interest rates when the fridge is empty. You don't think about next month when you're trying to get through this week. Consumer confidence isn't low. They're just flat out exhausted. And I'm not going to put it all on financial literacy. It isn't the problem. Affordability is. People aren't bad at budgeting. Some are, but most aren't. But they're budgeting for the impossible. Now, buy now, pay later did not break the people. It showed how broken our system already is. But talking about it, naming it, breaking the silence around it, that's how change begins. So today, we traced what convenience really costs. Not in dollars, but in stress, silence, survival, and the system-wide ripple that hits logistics, retail, households, and hope. But here's the truth nobody wants to say out loud. Consumers cannot fix this. Regulation can't fix this alone. And corporations won't fix it unless they're forced to. This next chapter, the one we're walking into, is going to reshape spending, shipping, manufacturing, pricing, hell, the entire logistics chain. And part 3, that's where we go to next. What happens when these buy now, pay later companies start collapsing? When regulations finally land? When the market corrects itself violently? Because we're in the middle of an economic shift. And unfortunately, most people don't see it yet. Thank you for thinking deeper with me tonight. Stay sharp, stay grounded, and stay ready. Because the economy is still shifting under our feet. I'm Gia, and until next time, I'll be right here navigating these crossroads with you.